Hi everyone, I'm Emma Welton. I'm a musician and a composer, I'm a violinist, and I'm often a community musician. I work really at the grassroots. I live in Exeter and I've been composing musical pieces on the subject of climate change and energy since 2014. Recently, like many of us, I've been listening to the music in my own habitat. That's the place I live in, the sounds I hear from my doorstep, the garden, the roads I walk down, the places I sit. My usual routes, maybe where you might walk the dog or just go to pop out for some fresh air or the local shop. Our habitual places near home. During lockdown, as we all know, the sound of our habitat changed. There was much less human activity, but also many people had the time to attend to it in a way they had never before. The Economist ran an article on July the 4th that said, lockdown let people hear silence interspersed with birdsong in car-free cities for the first time in decades. And the article also noted an effect this experience was having on people's political choices. I was listening in my garden, maybe you were too, and I've carried on listening as lockdown has eased. Now, what I was going to play you next was actually a video I've just made during lockdown. Back in June, as lockdown was easing, I was watching some newts in a soakaway in my own garden, and I recorded the sound all around me as I was watching them using binaural microphones. And unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to play that for you today, which I would love to have, but you can have a listen and a look on my website if you like. Listen through headphones, then you will be put in my position. So I'll tell you what I heard. I heard flies landing on the water. I heard swifts up above, pigeons and gulls. I heard the wind in the leaves above me. I heard people chatting. I heard traffic up and down the main road next to my house. The beeping of a pedestrian crossing. I didn't hear any newts. And in a way that sort of points up how what I'm interested in is sort of making the case for listening as well as looking when we're talking about greening the city. Because often what you hear is very different to what you see. So I'm just going to give you an opportunity to stretch your legs very quickly, really quickly. We're actually going to compose a piece now. I'd like you to stick your head out, wait a minute, stick your head out of the nearest window or door, 10 seconds will do, catch a sound, a characteristic sound of your habitat, come back, write in the chat, very briefly, where you are in the city or Denmark, and what you heard. So I'm going to write something like, I'm in Exwick and I heard the sparrows chirping in the hedge, perhaps. I'm just going to go and do that. You do the same. Stretch your legs, take a breath of fresh air, come back and do that. And I'll see you in a moment. So I'm just writing what I heard. Okay, thank you for that. So what we've got there is an instant picture of the city, of our community within that city. I hope you enjoyed your little bit of outside and fresh air. So we've captured a recording of our habitat right now, which loosely reveals the characteristic sounds of our city. It tells a story of what we do and how we're doing it, the space we occupy alongside the creatures and the plants we live with. I could put it on a physical map afterwards if I wanted to, if you want me to as well. It would show us something about our city, about us in our environment and in our habitat. In June, I started composing sound walks. I was observing the sounds in my environment whilst walking and then composing a piece out of them to share with somebody else. These are short listening walks I make in my neighbourhood, about a mile long. I set them down as illustrated maps to share with other people, for other people to do. I think of them as musical scores, and when people do the walk, they're performing them. I've made 6 so far, and I'm committed to making 2 a month for the rest of the year. It started as an activity for Exeter Family Orchestra, a creative activity we can do outside whilst we're not together to make music. We're composing sound journeys for somebody else. Kerry, could you put on corner to corner the next slide? So this is my first, not my first, but one of my sound maps, as you can see. It's up my road. This is my road, Exeter Road. And we start at the bottom next to a small tree. And we continue up, and I'm editing the sounds around me and making a journey for other people to put themselves in those positions. You won't necessarily, in fact, you're unlikely to exactly what I heard. I'm interested how it'll change with the season, with the weather, and all sorts of other factors. But we can see, I'm pointing people to think about where the sounds are, how the physical environment changes the sounds, what a particular tree might sound like. Quite a few trees in this, treeconomics people. I love the sound of different trees in my environment, and it's definitely worth listening to them. So that was made in July. I'll probably do the same walk again later in the year and see how different it is. Moving on, Kerry, next one, please. This was feedback from somebody who did my first sound walk, which was called Tree to Tree. Went from a tree in my garden to one on the university. It was wonderful. I don't normally need a purpose to walk, but I found I loved having one. I'm used to noticing the beautiful surroundings, but not the sounds. The rustle in the first big tree is beautiful and gentle, my favourite thing from the whole walk. I heard so many bird songs by the flood channel. The triangle sounds, they were little information signs, were noticeable on the approach, and I thought of the people living above them. The huge Zelkova, that's a tree on the university campus, had such a dampening effect on my voice, like she was keeping me safe and contained within her branches for a short while. So I really love the responses that I'm getting from people when they pay attention to their environment like this. Can you show the next slide, please, Kerry? So this is a picture of the Zelkova tree. And in the sound walk, I invite people to actually climb inside the tree because it's got its own special acoustic chain, which I haven't found anywhere else. I recommend it. Sound walks, just I'm going to wrap up in a sec, are they're there for people to do on their own. It's really, I think of it as quite a solitary activity, really paying attention to your environment. However, people have asked me whether they can do them with me and with each other. So by popular responding to request, I'm organising my first sound walk together on Saturday afternoon in Exeter with 3 people and me. And we're going to do that together, and I'm going to be organising a few more over the next couple of months. Maybe you would like a sound walk in your part of Exeter, so do ask me. Final slide, please, Kerry. So I ask you to get outside and listen for yourself. Put yourself in a position where you're having the experience through your own senses, not just by looking at my maps. I'm very keen that people don't just look at the maps and like them. They're really nice pictures. They're really, for me, it's about going, have an experience, be affected by the world all around you outside. By listening, I think you're fostering a connection with your habitat, and it might change you. My question specifically, how can Lee's listening experiences be shared with more people across Exeter? And I suppose also, can listening lead to change? Thank you.